In the headlines, more rock falls and landslides are expected as the Met Office predicts a very wet weekend. A former Haitian leader supports Caribbean nations legalizing the use of marijuana. And an international airport to improve prospects for trade between Dominica and Africa. I'm Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, Dominicans urged to be on the lookout as a rainy weekend threatens and a flash flood warning is in effect until midday Saturday. The word of advice from National Disaster Coordinator in the Office of Disaster Management, Fitzroy Pascal. Lingering moisture and instability associated with a low-level trough are expected to continue to generate cloudiness, showers and isolated thunderstorms across the island chain for the next 24 to 48 hours. There have been reports of landslides and rockfalls across the country on Friday, and Pascal is cautioning the public to remain vigilant.
The ODM is advising the general public to exercise caution as we conduct daily activities. People in vulnerable areas, particularly areas prone to flooding along ravines, rivers and other waterways, landslides and rockfalls, should exercise extreme caution. Reports have indicated that areas over the south of the island, including the Bellevue-Chopin Road and under the Kinfield Cliff on the Eau-Libla Highway, have experienced landslide and rockfalls. Weather reports from the Met Service indicate that the grounds are saturated from rainfall over the past few days, and the forecast is for the rains to continue over the next 24 to 48 hours. This means that people should be on the lookout for hazards of landslides and rockfalls, which are already occurring, and possible flooding in flood-prone areas.
In more top stories, traffic flow in the Point Round area was due to have been restored on Friday.
Commuters and residents of the north have been inconvenienced this week following the collapse of the Bailey Bridge at Point Round. The Ministry of Public Works announced that vehicles weighing 5 tons or less were allowed to access the new bypass, while access for vehicles weighing more than 5 tons would be restored within a few days. Meantime, roads in a number of areas have been impacted by heavy rain from Thursday going into Friday. Debris temporarily halted traffic flow along the road in the Bellevue area. On other roadways, drivers had to contend with rockfalls which impeded traffic for some time. As predicted by the Met Office, flooding affected other areas.
In more developments, Dominica to take a mature approach to the discussion of legalizing marijuana in a way that is in the best interest of the country. The Prime Minister says, having celebrated its 40th anniversary of independence, he is expecting the nation to discuss this issue with a measure of maturity.
Decriminalization of limited quantities of marijuana and the use of certain potencies of marijuana for medicinal purposes is another issue we must confront, having reached the age of 40. Dominica does not need anyone to dictate to it what its policy on this issue should be or must be. I, Roosevelt Skerritt, might very well vote no on this issue, but it is not for me to impose my personal likes and dislikes, nuances and preferences on you, the people of Dominica.
The first national consultation on the decriminalization of marijuana and its use for medicinal purposes is scheduled for 16th November. As Dominica prepares to host its first national consultation on the decriminalization of marijuana, a former regional leader is throwing support behind Caribbean nations legalizing the use of the plant.
Michel Martelly, who was president of Haiti from May 2011 to February 2016, made the remarks during a visit to Dominica last month. Martelly pointed out that larger, more developed countries already benefit from this multi-million-dollar industry, and it's time for smaller nations to get a piece of the pie.
This is crazy if I told you how much money the country legalizing marijuana are making right now. It's a multi-billion-dollar business, and yet they are trying to stop it in a few countries so they can have the monopoly. I mean, people are in jail right now because of marijuana, and yet now it's legal. I think it's just crazy.
Martelly says it's time for smaller countries to do what they need to do to benefit their people.
I think countries need to take decisions for their own good in favor of their people. For instance, as a president, I've tried in Haiti to get some land so people could start this business, but it's like, hey, we're not ready yet. We're not ready, but it's happening in the US. It's happening in Colorado. It's happening in California. It's happening in Miami. Why can't we do it in Haiti? Why can't we do it in Dominica? It's a big business. It's a huge business. But the thing is, you don't have control over what you need to do. So since the world today is a village, let's get together, pave the way for people to just be happy.
On to education. Approximately 10 early childhood centers to be renovated in the coming months. That's according to Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Chandler Hyacinth. Hyacinth says while work on the schools will begin soon, one of the major partners with the Ministry of Education has already begun renovation works on one preschool in the Roseau Valley.
Many of our preschools were destroyed during Hurricane Maria. Fortunately, many donor agencies like you, the Dominican Relief and Development Association, Inc., came forward and provided assistance either in rebuilding or in refurbishing our primary schools and by extension our preschools. Presently, one of our foremost donors, the Maria Holder Foundation, has already begun work at one of our preschools, the Trafalgar Preschools. This is one of the schools that will be rebuilt.
The 10 preschools called for renovation works are located all over the country and suffered a range of damage from Hurricane Maria.
The following schools are to be refurbished or will be refurbished during the coming months: Cassie Bruce, Clifton, Jones Beaupierre, Maho River in Sinico, Mont Jean, Mont Prosper, Saint-Sauveur, which will be at the Petit Soufriere Preschool, Bellevue Jopet to receive preschool children from Bellevue and Pichelet, and Soufriere to receive Seedlings Preschool in Soufriere, and Grand Bay to receive Sword Preschool.
Hyacinth was speaking at a ceremony where the Dominica America Relief and Development Association, DADA, distributed resource material for early childhood centers. She encouraged the teachers to utilize the tools to develop good foundations for the country's youth.
We must ensure that children in the preschool years are prepared for life, not just for transitioning into primary school, but being equipped with the foundation skills that are necessary for lifelong learning. It is therefore a real honor on behalf of the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development to receive these varied learning materials and furniture which will assist our children in learning through active play. I want to use this opportunity to urge our teachers in our preschools to make best use of these materials. They are not meant to be stored away in some cupboard. They are meant to be actively in use. and used with every opportunity for active learning.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fence pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. An international airport will be the key to expanding Dominica's trading relations to include countries beyond Dominica's current trading partners. A new international airport and direct jet flights could present an opportunity for Dominica to explore business ties with not just Europe, North America, and Asia, but the African continent.
Only last week, I met with the President of the Republic of Ghana, and he lamented the challenges they have in accessing these islands, inhabited by persons whom they refer to as brothers and sisters. So the horizon is bright, my dear people. At age 40, it is not midlife for Dominica. Age 40 is rebirth for Dominica. Age 40 is the dawn of the new Dominica. This country is moving, my dear people. Dominica is on the move again.
And independence celebrations have come and gone, but this issue of national pride and national heroes can be discussed year-round. As we emerge from celebrating our 40th year of independence, we thought it opportune to share with you from our archives a Marpin News report by Bernard Frampton. The report, which was aired in October 1989, is introduced by news presenter at the time, Christiana Abraham.
The great minds and efforts inspiring Dominica's advancements over the years have apparently been taken for granted. Little is left as tribute to these patriots, while those who remain are almost disregarded. Bernard delves into our island's history in search of its national heroes.
As countries struggle for continuous national development, a glance at the past reveals many great events highlighted in these countries' national memoirs. The masterminds influencing and negotiating their change and growth are also listed. Many countries, conscious of the importance of national pride, have made these people into heroes. How is it done? Well, for most of these countries, the cabinet, after being convinced that various persons have profusely contributed to the building and development of the country, declares them publicly national heroes. And so, these people are treated with ceremonious respect. Many countries choose sculptures, days of commemoration, and monuments as a material object of recognition. Here in Dominica, this is not rarely practiced. Surfacing questions as, do we have any national heroes? And if we do, why aren't they known of? Well, for a country like ours with such an interesting, unique and successful history, it is very difficult to perceive that there weren't great minds behind our development. Are they left forgotten? Tracing back to over 300 years in Dominica's history, there were heroes. Heroes like Carib Warner, who led the front to protect the Caribs from the invasion of the French and British. He gave his life for that cause. Then 100 years later, while the slaves were being battered by the plantocracy system, the Maroons on Negma War, who escaped from the plantation, flew to the mountains and interior, forming guerrilla camps. Revolutionists against contemporary systems. Men like Jacko, Bala, and Congo Ray were the instigators of this fight for freedom. Another 100 years later, our country began to smell infrastructural and economical development. A man whose name today rests on the walls of our major hospital guided us from scratch to a contending regional trader, Dr. John Imre. He was also the man who implemented the public system of medical care. When there was no place for keeping the ill, he established the first hospital on the island. Dr. Imre at the time researched seemingly incurable tropical diseases and saved the lives of many Dominicans. Then there was the businessman in him. When our sugar crop collapsed in the early 18th century, he developed the lime estates and made it the major source of national income. Dr. Imre's efforts in the success of the lime industry opened the way for other stalwarts of national development, like Dr. Henry Alfred Nichols, who also has inscribed his name at one of our wards at the major hospital. Then Heskiff Bell, an administrator to Dominica under the British rule, was a man of action. He installed the first telephone system on the island, the first major road, the public library. He established the Carib Reserve when he realized that the Caribs could not afford land. Mabel Cici Cordera was a school teacher. She was a woman of immense initiative. She instilled in us Dominican pride that is apparent even today. She was the one who restored and evoked our folklore when it was almost dying. Aren't these people all in themselves national heroes? There is a very sad pattern that we in Dominica seem to follow, the posthumous recognition, in that we recognize our heroes after they have left us. But there are many who are still continuing the struggle. Are we going to watch them die before we bestow unto them their rightful honor? Christopher Loblack was the pioneer of trade unionism in Dominica. He was also a vibrant politician, one of the founders of our first political party, the Labour Party.
My life really, 95%, almost 90%, or 99%, goes spent for development of Dominica, either in a collective way or individual way.
There are also the younger ones who, despite their continuous zeal, are disregarded. Lennox Honeychurch, our very own historian, has researched our island to the extent that he produces books for use at schools. Alwyn Bully, the man of art and culture, has continued the legend of Cici Cordera. He was the brain behind Dominica's culture for more than a decade. Aren't they in themselves heroes? At our National Day celebration each year, deserving men are awarded with medals for their service to the country. But of these persons, there are those who deserve unique recognition. Even our politicians we may wish to consider: our first Premier Oliver Libla, the first Chief Minister Frank Barron, our first Prime Minister Patrick John, and even our present Prime Minister, who has made a name for us on the international scene. Jamaica boasts of Marcus Garvey, Alexander Bustamante, and others. Barbados honors Sir Grantley Adams, St. Vincent Chanteyer. Who do we boast of? Who are our national heroes? Even the naming of our streets is not a proper reflection of our great men. Maybe one day we'll hope to see streets like the King George V Street, Victoria Streets, and the Kennedy Avenue be transformed to the John Emmerich Street, the Cici Cordera Street, and even the Lennox Honeychurch and the Alwyn Bullies. Maybe this might instill in us a new sense of national pride. I am Bernard Frampton reporting for Marpin News Focus.
To end the news, the headlines again. More rockfalls and landslides are expected as the Met Office predicts a very wet weekend. A former Haitian leader supports the Caribbean nations legalizing the use of marijuana. And an international airport improves the prospects for trade between Dominica and Africa. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.